Back with the starters into the Bone Zone, joined by two-time NBA champ Brent Barry. Bones, thanks for joining us.
Hey guys, I had my elbows on the table. I was like, get down.
That's allowed here.
I apologize.
Well, we'll all do it here for this segment. So we got a couple questions we want to take you through here today, and some fun topics as always. But we want to start with sort of the big news from the weekend. That was the surprise return of Serge Ibaka, a guy that was out for the rest of the season and suddenly is starting in Game 3. Were you surprised at all, or were you like Pop and Tony Parker thinking, yeah, he's going to come back and play?
Well, were you guys shocked and surprised that he was in the lineup? I would say I was surprised at the performance, and then I should let you guys answer. Were you guys surprised?
Game 3, I was a little surprised.
Yeah. I was with you. I was surprised that he wasn't hobbling around that much.
Yeah.
Yes. I think
he looked pretty good.
His movement was phenomenal and a lot further along than I actually expected. That's an injury. I actually suffered that injury, and it's no fun. I mean, you really feel like at any point, it's like an old rubber band that you just feel like it's just going to snap at some point. And he was able to contain himself and be as active as he normally is in terms of tracking down block shots. I mean, there were a couple of plays where he covered a lot of ground and was able to get to the ball vertically that I just didn't think he was going to be able to have. And I think his impact, to be quite honest, because the Spurs actually shot a better percentage with him on the floor than they did with him not on the floor. And I know people are talking about his defensive presence, which was there. Spurs shot 50% around the rim rather than 77%, which is robotic. But his impact on offense, I thought, was really the most important thing. I wrote down the numbers for the first two games for Thabo Sefolosha, Perkins, and Nick Collison. They totaled 9 points, 20 rebounds, and 2 blocks in the first two games. And Serge had 15 points, 7 boards, and 4 blocks in just the Game 3 alone. So the offensive impact, I think, relieved a lot of that pressure that KD and Russell had been feeling.
How much could you always hear this with a guy that comes back from injury, and everyone goes, "Oh, it's the adrenaline." He's running on pure adrenaline right now. As a former athlete, as someone even that you said you had this injury, is that a real thing? And it's very possible that he could sort of like fall off here, regress because of the the adrenaline is gone.
Yeah, I do think so. Having the day in between, and obviously I think round-the-clock treatment, which is what he was getting during games 1 and 2. Steve Smith made a great point last night that if he was done for the playoffs, he would have traveled with the team. He would have been there in a suit, supporting the team, clapping for his teammates, trying to help out Nick Collison and Steve. Well, maybe not Nick so much, but Steven Adams with some positioning and how the Spurs run their offense. But him not being there was a telltale sign that they were going to do round-the-clock rehab. They were going to be on top of this thing. So it was a great adrenaline rush for him to be out there. But he was consistent all game long. A game in between, I expect him to have, the same sort of impact. Maybe not to win the game, but be able to contribute the way he did in that last game. That combined with, we have to face it, the Spurs really played a crappy game. I mean, that was the worst shooting game of the playoffs for them. They had a lot of guys just underperform. And we're overwhelmed by it. So Pop always talks about, I don't care who plays for them. I care about how our guys play for us. And I expect some sort of response, obviously, from them on the offensive end of the floor to be a little bit better.
Well, this weekend, the NBA announced on Saturday that Heat forward and a former teammate of yours, Shane Battier, is the winner of this season's Twyman Stokes Teammate of the Year award. The award, which recognizes the ideal teammate, was first presented last year. Billups got the inaugural winner, the first win. The award takes its name, I love sharing this story, it takes its name from Jack Twyman and Maurice Stokes, who spent 3 seasons as teammates on the Royals back in the 50s. Stokes suffered a career-ending head injury in 1958, and he fell into a coma after a series of seizures. The injury eventually left Stokes paralyzed, and Twyman soon became his legal guardian, caring for him and helping him raise money for his medical bills.
Story.
It is I'm so happy the NBA created this award just so at least every year at one point we can sort of remind everyone of that story. But so Shane takes it again. You were a former teammate of him. Was he a good teammate? Is he well-deserving?
Shane is one of the best guys. I mean, I think this award kind of speaks to who it is that you'd want to go grab a beer with. I mean, really, for people outside looking in, somebody who puts basketball into perspective, takes care of his job, takes care of his responsibility, not only as a teammate, but as a member of the community wherever he plays. Shane obviously does great work with the Take Charge Foundation, has Badioki every year, gets teammates to come out and make complete asses of themselves and sing and do stupid stuff. And I didn't in the year in Houston because I'm not a good teammate. No, I'm just kidding. I couldn't make it the year he did it. But obviously, we've seen some rogue guerrilla footage of LeBron and Dwayne Wade participating, and Chris Bosh participating in this. And he's a fantastic guy and the kind of guy that the league is proud to have. I mean, we talk about Shane being the first president of the United States coming out of the NBA, even though Barack is a good player. Shane having years of experience in the league might just do that.
So Shane would be at the top of your list. Is there anyone else you would sort of throw on your favorite teammates of all time? You played on a lot of different teams and a lot of teammates.
I did. I played on a lot of teams, and I think it's kind of like friends in life that engage you in other ways. You know, that we all have similar interests, but I'm really always attracted to guys, not in that way, attracted to guys in ways where they have interest outside of the game of basketball.
Right.
So Desmond Mason was a great teammate of mine in Seattle. He is now a very accomplished artist. I don't know if you guys know this, but he does some incredible paintings, and he's showing around the world. He actually has some great exhibits. Ray Allen was one of my favorite teammates just because he's so bright and has tremendous interest outside of basketball that he's always talking about and willing to share his
So that was the
opinions.
big thing to you. Like, it just, it's not all basketball 24/7.
I think it's just about perspective. And I always enjoyed every, other than the smell, most of the European guys that I played with throughout the league because they're coming from another culture. So I enjoyed talking to them about their transition to the United States, learning the language, how it was that they grew up, what their parents were like, and how much different things were around. So I've been blessed to get to know guys on a level outside of the game as people that make them very much more interesting as teammates and eventually friends after your career is over with. It's kind of a fun thing.
I don't know if you'll answer this, but worst teammate of all time?
John Barry.
Oh, I never played with John. I lived with him. He's the worst guy.
It's the worst roommate of all time, isn't it?
Boy, worst teammate. I really would never throw anybody under the bus on air, but we'll talk about
You're the
that.
best teammate.
Good answer.
It reminds me of if you don't know the worst teammate you've ever had, you might have been the worst teammate you've ever had. I did find these. I was talking to you guys about moving.
Yeah.
And I found some things, so I brought these in. I know we're not going to have time to go through these, but maybe next week, where are we? Here. So maybe next week, Lee, we go through 91.
I'm ready whenever you are.
Clear 91, so I'll hand this over.
Lee.
I know the Starters fans, they enjoy when Lee goes through the cards. So maybe next week we get through a 91 deck of cards.
Well, next week we'll do that. But let's look back to last week when we had you in the Bone Zone, because we were talking about, or we had you rank your favorite Michael Jackson songs of all time.
Yeah.
And you sort of slipped in something about hosting.
So you guys looked it up.
Oh, yeah.
You slipped in something about hosting a Michael Jackson-themed beach party every year in California there at your house on the beach.
That's me. That's me on the right.
And we have it here. That's Bones on the right with the ukulele. And
I love Brent watching the footage. So good. This is so
I mean, this is quite
did
the production.
I have to ask you guys, when you watched it, were you, first of all, you're a little reticent about it, but there's my son, Cade, who's phenomenal doing the Gangnam Style.
Yeah.
Were you guys kind of like, oh my God, you really do this?
No, we were. Like,
I couldn't believe how loud the clips were. Like the people cheering on the beach, being so excited to see in person.
We had last year, so this thing is happening. This is going to be the 10th summer, but we had 2,000 people watching this. I told you guys that last year, and you guys said, yeah, whatever.
No,
Yeah.
it's true.
2,000 people were out there watching this thing. So we're looking forward to this summer and our 4th of July.
Good production value.
I was gonna say.
you guys,
I was
yeah.
gonna say no expenses.
You guys didn't put the link out, did you? Or are you gonna?
Well, we will now that you mentioned it. Yeah.
Not good.
All right. Well, so that was inspired from what we had you rank last week, but we've got
I'm so glad you guys watched that.
We've got something new. We watched all 15 minutes of that thing. It was quite the show there. But we're talking from one holiday there, 4th of July, to another, Memorial Day today. It's maybe the unofficial start of barbecue season, let's call it. So we're having you rank barbecue items, all right? And your 5 options: cheeseburger, coleslaw, baby back ribs, hot dog, and potato salad.
Gosh, it just doesn't seem right to not have a hot dog on Memorial Day. I mean, hot dogs, and potato salad, and coleslaw, that's the order I'll go in for today. I mean,
Wow.
I love a cheeseburger throughout the year, but on Memorial Day, hot dog, coleslaw, potato salad, and then, you know, ribs and cheeseburger down the list. Those are the extras. But for today, nothing more American than some hot dogs, some potato salad,
Basics,
and maybe some San Francisco Giants baseball.
Can't argue that.
That
Bones,
didn't make the list, but I would throw it.
Yeah, sorry. Bones, thank you as always. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, guys. We'll actually talk maybe some hoops, and we'll get to those cards.
You're the best teammate on the starters with these. I tell you.
Yeah, we'll
Lee's
open
going to be
those.
chewing some gum next week.